All right, we are on day 3, Senior Bowl. We're looking at national practice again. Basically looking at receivers versus D-backs or defenders, really, because we have wide receivers versus corners. We have tight ends versus safeties. And then we also have running backs versus linebackers. So anybody who can catch the ball versus anybody who defends them. Good practice. We have plenty 2024 NFL draft targets for the Patriots in this one. Both sides of the ball, offense and defense, especially with the national team that's loaded with them. So looking at the 1v1 matchups here and then making some notes on some positive and negatives from both sides of the ball, all right? All right, looking at Brenden Rice versus Khyree Jackson. Now, Brenden is my 3rd round wide receiver for the Patriots. Now, I don't know if he'll even be there, but that's the guy I'm looking at, hopefully. And then Kyrie, I wouldn't mind early day 3. Maybe if he's still there in the 5th, I wouldn't mind picking him up. He's solid. I like him. It's just, we're not really dying for a corner. I'm not sure he'll get past maybe the 4th round, though. Now, Brenden obviously wins this one, but I don't think there's anything that Kyrie can do because Brendan's going to come right at him. He's going to put him on his heels for a split second before he makes his move. Right, so he comes right at him, makes just a little bit of a stutter, and Kyrie responds. The only thing he could possibly do there is basically anticipate and jump in front of him and defend his spot and then put his arm out. But Brendan's bigger, he's faster, he's taller, longer. So even if this contested catch situation and Kyrie does an amazing job of jumping it, it's still going to be a battle for the ball. And that's why I like Brenden. To me, Brenden is basically day 2 Marvin Harrison Jr. in my opinion. You might hate me for that, but prove me I'm wrong. Because the guy can block too. Good blocker, big, explosive, everything you want. What you'd expect from the GOAT, right? All right, Malachi Corley versus Smith Wade. Not much of a rep here, but I love it because you're going to see something that just tells me why I will love Malachi Corley. See ya. Now, that's going to get a flag, unfortunately. But this is just a point here, which is I'd rather have to pull back on the reins on a guy rather than having to get a cattle prod out to get him to be more aggressive. The speed and just aggressiveness. See ya. Now, let's just say something else here, which is, a lot of people are, where I was picking Malachi 2nd, 3rd rounds in some of my mock drafts just because I love the way he plays. And everybody's like, oh, he's a screen guy. It's like, well, yeah, but you know what? The NFL, double-digit percentage on screens. That's what the NFL uses. It's an extension of the run game now. So I'd rather have a running back out there. All right, so A.J. Barner versus Cole Bishop. A.J., both these guys, day 3 guys for me. I love A.J. because he's an amazing blocking tight end. Not only in line, but out in space. There's nobody better out in space in terms of him blocking it as a tight end. And he's good in line. He can go out in the slot and wide, too. He's gotten some wide snaps. He's a big receiver. It's just that his technique-wise, he's very good as a blocker. And that basically, you could see it here. Like, he gets right up into him. Now, there's nothing wrong with Cole Bishop doing here. I mean, that does draw a flag, and Cole does a good job getting back on him, getting a hand in there. It's just, hey, you're dealing 6'2 versus 6'5 here. Barner's long, big hands. Very aggressive, keeps driving those knees through, stepping hard. Good rep from both of them, Just AJ, you can't be doing that far down the field. Nice and aggressive, though. Again, just another situation where I'd rather have to pull back on the reins rather than asking somebody to play harder. All right, what I've been waiting for over a year, Laube out in the slot. Now he's going against Cam Hart, who's a physical freak, so this is a good matchup. Dude, he was out at 3 yards in like a quarter of a second. That burst is crazy. Now, he does this perfect. He gets right up in Cam's face, right? He closes the gap, gets even, and then he wins it after the first step after getting right next to him, right? His next step after closing the gap and getting even, he wins it here. Boom. See ya. He even puts he puts Cam on that trajectory for the back corner, right? And then he curls it back. Watch that. So he's going to tell, what's Cam going to think? He wants to get in the end zone, right? So what are you going to do with Cam, right? He's going to go right towards the back of the end zone, right? So Cam's going to think that, no. Right here. Now, that might be a mistake to some people, but he got the catch. Man, when you watch him full speed, it's crazy. Been waiting a long time for that. All right, so next we got Javon Baker versus Max Melton. Good matchup here. Both very fast, big, physical guys, very aggressive, got the attitude. Not sure who wins this one. Nope, Max has got you there. Now, that's just Max doing a good job of actually anticipating the route, right? Yeah, that's perfect. Jayvon didn't do anything wrong. Just Max watching him, waiting for his arm to go up and timing at the right time to contest it. Nice move. Man, if we get Max, again, another guy, if you can get him in the 5th, it's too hard to pass up. All right, McCaffery versus Wade Smith. Now, keep in mind, McCaffery, still young as a receiver. Probably should have closed that up a little bit more. I mean, if you're going to slow down and make that move, you got to get closer because you're giving time for your corner to close the gap after that, right? So it's either don't slow down at all and just break it off hard, or you got to get closer. Because he didn't bite. Yeah. Rice Jackson, too. I forget who wins this one. I think Jackson does, actually. He does what Max does, which is he gets in the right spot. Yeah, it's perfect. He gets right in front of him. Yep, and he talks to him about it, too. He knows he won that one. Perfect. Awesome defense. He knew, he anticipates the route, gets right in front of him. Great. Nice job. One more time in real time. Yeah, he just anticipated which way he was going. Might have been a dice roll, honestly, but... All right, Tez Walker versus Cam Hart. Again, Tez has been having a rough Senior Bowl. Cam's been having a great one. Tez is fast, though. Yep, Cam has to put his hands on him a little bit too much. But notice how Cam has to... Yeah, right at the last moment when Tez goes up for the ball, right? Puts his arms up. Cam already has his arms there. So they're both technically going for the ball, right? Even though Cam is just anticipating that Tez is going to bring his arms up and he's going to run his arm into his. Tez is going to run his arm into Cam's. Stop. It's over the right shoulder there, so if I stop his left, he's not going to be able to catch that ball. Nice job, Cam. Yeah, Tez, this is not going to be where you're going to find him excelling. Like this, Tez is going to be one of those guys that right down the field, big home run ball. Not that he's doing anything wrong here. It's just Cam does the smart move. He's super fast, right? So, anyway, AJ Barner versus Simone Vaki. Now, I was watching the broadcast, and they actually did bring up that Simone Vaki plays running back. Good for them. They did some homework. He's a good third down back for Utah. It's just obviously he's a great strong safety for them as well, and he does a good job putting the brakes on AJ Barner here. AJ, I don't think he does anything wrong. It's just Simone's puts him, just pounces him. Knocks him right off. I'm not sure if that was a good ball. Who's throwing that? Oh, Hartman. Hey, Hartman, maybe you should use your right hip. Dude, when your right shoulder's ahead of your right hip, you need to get some mechanics going. He throws his shoulder before he throws his right hip. Brutal. All right, Laube versus Loafu. This is not fair. Linebacker versus Laube, and that's all you need to know. Now, just a note on Laube is not only is he a great running back, he's got both yardage on the running back and receiving as a receiving back. He does go out out in the slot, but then also he's probably the best kick and punt returner in this draft as well. I'm willing to go in the 4th round, and everybody's going to roll their eyes on that, but if you need a guy that can fill in a lot of spots on the offense, we need that. We definitely need that. And he's a tough dude, too. And I haven't seen it, but as far as I heard, his blocking at practice this week has been solid. So he can be, a third down back at against FBS talent. That's fine with me. All right, next we got Malachi versus Kalen King. Now, Kalen King, a lot of people, I thought he should have came out last year, and that's not after, seeing it now. It's not hindsight. I thought he should have done it last year. And yeah, the cornerback group was loaded last year, but he had his body size and his versatility in slot and the wide probably would have made him at least a solid day 2. But this past season at Penn State, really, what you're seeing at the Senior Bowl is what I saw most of it this whole entire year for Penn State. He had a rough year. But here, he recognized the route. The guy knows what he's doing. It's just, I don't know what it is. It's just, he's off. Oh, wait, that's not Max Melton. I messed that one up. But anyway, Jayvon does a great job here. Nice solid high point. Probably could have got a little more head and shoulder into that one to really break him off, but that's good. Gets both feet down. Keeps the ball away from the defender after the catch. Underrated dude. Some people are like, yeah, he's like a 5th or 6th rounder. I think maybe that's where I target for us. Maybe in that 4th, 5th round area. Notice how I keep saying 4th or 5th round? That, again, just goes to show you how loaded this draft is. I don't know what people are thinking, saying it's a weak draft. It's not. You have multiple redshirt and double redshirt seniors from COVID coming out this year, which is making a lot of underclassmen go back and do their senior season next year. I understand that, but that's not taking away from this draft. Still loaded. Anyway, here's Theo Johnson versus Oladapo. I like Oladapo maybe as a depth piece if he's still available in the 7th round. Now, Theo Johnson to me is probably one of your best comprehensive tight ends in this draft. There's a lot of niche tight ends this year, and him and AJ Barner, Sinnott is a little bit more fullbacky. But there's not too many comprehensive guys in this draft, so he could be as early as, the 3rd, and then maybe as late as the 5th or 6th. All right, Brenden Rice again versus, oh my gosh, he killed him there. See, that shows you. That's why I say he's day 2 Marvin Harrison Jr. Come on. Yep, Kyrie. You just, he slipped, lost his balance, but, I don't know if there's anything he could have done anyway. I don't know if there's anybody who could have done anything about that. He just snapped him off hard. Boop! Even with the hold, too. Good ball, too. Penix looks good at the Senior Bowl. Isaiah Davis, Jontre Hunter. Jontre's pretty good, but to me, I don't know if he can just keep up with Isaiah Davis. You're looking at Isaiah Davis, South Dakota State University, probably going to run high 4.4, low 4.5, but is probably going to get you a 1.5 in the 10-yard. And he does have receiving numbers. It's not, amazing, but he can do it. But the thing is his, he was able to rush the ball like 1,400 yards or something like that. And South Dakota had an awesome offensive line this year. You're going to see a lot of those guys get drafted. Sundell, McCormick. Is there anybody else I'm thinking of in there? There's several. Yeah, probably three of their offensive linemen will be drafted this year. So, but anyway, big dude. He's like almost 6'1", 220, 230. Probably gonna run in the, like I said, like probably high 4.4s, low 4.5s. Decent move there too. Just nothing Hunter can do about that. All right, Cowing, Wade Smith. Yes, I'll say it again. Like, I'm not huge on Cowing, not because of who he is, but we already have Demario Douglas. Now, one thing about Demario Douglas, the guy's already got 2 concussions. So it's not like Cowing's completely off the list for the Patriots, in my opinion. It's just, I don't know if we can afford to go with another quick, shifty, ultra light, featherweight wide receiver in, probably not. Yeah, you'd have to look at him in maybe the 5th round if he's still there. Now, I see him as just on that line around on the 100 mark. So, he would be our 4th round pick, probably. But can we afford that? I'm not sure. We need big body receivers that are kind of more the comprehensive, full service, out there for every snap, every part of the field type of wide receiver at this point. That alpha 1. All right, so Tez Walker, Max Melton. Max does a great job here. Yep. Man, I like him more and more. Now, the one-on-one drills, and his tape at Rutgers is great too. So I always have him as kind of being underrated. I have him as a top 10 corner in my opinion, but not really sure what other people don't see or what they're seeing that kind of puts him a little bit lower. I mean, should Tez grab that? Maybe. But Max did a good job defending it. Yeah. Physical. Max is physical, but not too much, right? It's just like the proper amount. Goldilocks amount of contact. All right, that's the end of it. So, kind of recap here. Just the idea that we're seeing, like Laube's going to be there. I'm pushing for him 4th, and I don't know if we can get him in the 5th. That's the thing. So, he's probably a 4th round guy. Max Melton, probably going to be maybe a 4th round guy. We're talking Brenden Rice, 3rd, but probably more like end of the 2nd and when it comes down to or maybe even earlier in the 2nd, depending on if there's a run on wide receivers. If there's a strong run on wide receivers in the 1st into the 2nd, and we're sitting there, we might have to maybe pull the trigger on him in the 2nd, and he'll be very early day 2. Which, people say it's an overdraft, but then you don't know if you're going to have a shot at any wide receiver in the 3rd that's worth a 3rd rounder if the whole NFL goes on a wide receiver kick. And the same thing can be said about offensive tackles. So it's great because this draft is loaded with what we need, but at the same time, like, we are it's going to be hard to believe that we're going to get 3 a quarterback, a wide receiver, and an offensive tackle, a left tackle in the draft, and also a right tackle. And they're all 3 or 4 of them is going to be what we really need. It's gonna be. Luckily, we're high enough in the draft order that we might be setting kind of the trend. We might be the guy who starts the run on offensive tackles or receivers, and maybe because of that, if we make, say, in the beginning of the 2nd, there's a after even the 1st round's probably gonna be a solid run on wide receivers or tackles, which could be scary because what happens if there is a strong run on tackles and in the 1st round, and there might be some really good receivers sitting there in the 2nd, but we still need a tackle, so we pick like a 3rd round tackle in the beginning of the 2nd, and then by the time we get to the third round, we're picking, end of the third round wide receivers. Totally possible. But maybe that sets us up for a good solid fourth with a bunch of guys who just didn't get, that are easily second round talent that are now in the fourth because of just the trend of, a run on tackles or receivers. I guess all we can really hope about is that, all the quarterbacks, we pick a quarterback and then everybody else gets freaked out about not getting a quarterback, and Bo Nix is getting drafted by the Jets, and Penix is going to the Eagles, or not to the Eagles, the Falcons, and Michael Pratt's getting drafted in like early second round, and we're sitting there and we'll have shots at decent tackles and wide receivers, but we don't know that. But we can see that even with what right just on the national team, you see 5 decent receivers and 2 or 3 decent corners, a couple good running backs that we could probably go after. So there's plenty of talent at the Senior Bowl tonight. There's the Shrine Bowl, which is, again, I would say in terms of competition and like solid matchups, I think the Shrine Bowl is probably a practice to watch. There's not too much of it if you had the credentials to see it, but to me, those were better matchups. There's a lot of guys that finally, like Christian Boyd, got like his due. I had him high on my list just because I thought he was going to be a great nose tackle. Now, I don't know if he's going to crack the top 200, but I think the guy will probably be drafted. Him and Evan Anderson are probably your best day 3 nose tackles, and that's where the Patriots might have to consider picking up a D tackle, because after this year, most of your D line is up next year. There's also a lot of good edge guys that are at the Shrine. Now, there's a lot of good edge rushers at the Senior Bowl, but to me, the edge rushers at the Shrine Bowl, again, they're showcasing that they're better than what people thought. So, Shrine Bowl tonight, I don't know who's playing, who's going to actually opt in or out of that game, but something to watch. I think it's on at 7 p.m. Eastern, so I think NFL Network will have it on. I can't wait to watch it. Anyway, so keep an eye on the Shrine Bowl tonight. Anyway, what do you guys think about these guys? Who do you like? Where would you draft them? Who would you draft? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.